Welcome to the program. Here it is. Rabbit Detective Agency. I am currently staying at my neighbor Jack's house. While writing this post, while waiting for the police to arrive, I think I should knock on Jack's door this morning. What I said at home. Tell the police the whole story exactly as it was told. I can't tell you the truth. Tell them everything, because they certainly wouldn't believe it. But this is only natural. I don't know why we'll choose to tell this matter. But you might be the only ones who believe me. I must tell you what I've been through. Tell me everything. Otherwise, I'll go crazy from suffocating. I need to explain my family situation first. My house is located in an area on a fairly large land. To the left of the house is an open space. Further out of the open space, it is an area covering. There are approximately 5,000 square meters of woodland. My wife Michelle, I like to call that place the Little Forest. Our nearest neighbors, Jack's house is about 2 kilometers away from us. So, this large area, it's practically just my wife and me living here. This is our little paradise. Beautiful and safe. Or rather, that's what I used to think. It's not safe here at all, now. He has been defiled. And I have absolutely no idea what to do. I have never encountered anything like this before. If among the people who see this post, someone has encountered a similar situation, do you know what that might be? Or could you tell me what to do? Please be sure to contact me. Last spring, my wife Michelle, a doorbell camera was installed on the door of the house. Things in our yard, occasionally, it will mysteriously disappear, or it got damaged. It's not really a big deal, things that can't be done. Only a few flower pots were broken. Only a few lawn decorations are missing. I told him, this may just be some young people from the town, looking for some fun. There's no need to install a surveillance camera for this. But he just wouldn't listen. He didn't really care much about these flower pots and lawn decoration. I'm just worried about this kind of behavior. It could escalate into something like burglary. Although I think he overreacted a bit. But I did not object to this. So, we bought a camera. And it was installed on the door that very day. We installed a camera next to the porch light. In this way, from the surveillance footage, you can see the situation in front of the gate, and be able to observe as much of the grass in front of the house as possible. Ping! 2 days later, we finally know. Why decorate the lawn in the yard? It will disappear without a trace. You probably already guessed it. It was done by 2 raccoons. Watching them carry the solar-powered light my wife put in the yard, then the scene of running away on 2 legs. That's hilarious. They were like 2 thieves. The image of running away while holding a blue light bulb, very interesting. And the patterns on their faces resembled the masks worn by thieves. Cool. Even my wife couldn't help but laugh. I'm quite curious, why did they steal these things? Maybe it was used to build their nests in the forest. After my wife finished reading, they started secretly feeding the cat outside the door at set times. As a result of these raccoons' theft, it just stopped like that. However, we did not remove the camera. It turns out, our decision was correct. Rice Noodles went on a business trip a few days ago. He should be home before dinner tonight. But he called to tell me the flight was delayed. The earliest it will be is 4 a.m. Only then can I return. I told him I loved him on the phone, and I can't wait to meet him. I then hung up the phone. It was an ordinary night. Nothing unusual happened. I tidied up the room. That way when my wife comes home, you won't notice that I've made a mess of the house. I cooked a bowl of soup for dinner. Then I fed my cat and petted her. After, I curled up on the sofa with the cat. I'm watching TV. The cat was purring against my chest. I fell asleep around 2 a.m. But after only sleeping for a little over an hour, I was woken up by my phone's notification sound. It's a notification from the surveillance camera. The camera frequently sounds an alarm, especially at night. The alarms are usually triggered by small animals. For example, foxes, or raccoons or something like that. But I still immediately grabbed my phone from the bedside table. He examined it. But because I didn't hear my wife knocking on the door, so I didn't get up immediately. I opened the monitoring app on my phone. The image of the gate was displayed. My wife, Michelle, is standing on the porch, staring blankly at the door. I sat up, ready to open the door. But what I saw next, but it left me stunned. What I saw was his face. He was smiling. That wasn't an ordinary smile, it was a smile I had never seen before. His strangely thin lips. He gave a long smile. It stretched the whole face wide. It was as if he was showing off his teeth. He stood at the door for a long time. It's like a terrifying human mannequin. After a while, his lips began to purr slowly again. It's like a child pouting when they're angry. He maintained that expression for a moment. Then his lips drooped down. Deep wrinkles began to appear again, raised eyebrows. I sat on the bed, watching my wife practice his various different faces. The expression seemed. It was as if he was learning about the concept of facial expressions for the first time. This scene was not only strange, and it makes your spine feel cold. He continued to slowly switch his expressions like that. Smile. Missing Mel. Frown. Then it was repeated again. After staring blankly for almost 15 minutes, I finally recovered from the shock and confusion. I pressed the live chat button. Honey, what are you doing? I said. His head suddenly lifted up. She opened her eyes wide and faced the camera, just like it was as if he was seeing a camera for the first time. His mouth was half open at this moment, an expression somewhere between a smile and a frown. He didn't answer me, just keep staring at the camera. The expression on his face remained frozen in this unsettling state, in a state of peace. I waited for quite a while. I don't know how to continue the conversation. But the longer I observed him, I noticed, the more strange things he had, the more. At first, I wasn't fully awake because I had just woken up. But now that I'm fully awake, I was surprised. These anomalies were not discovered immediately. The most obvious is, he looked much taller than usual. His head, just enough to hang what we usually use. Festival, and a pole. And that pole, I have to stand on tiptoe to barely touch it. That's not the only strange thing about him. His arms are very long. They hung down to the knees. Even his face looked a little off. Although this face looks very much like my wife, I didn't see the problem at first either. But after I observed it carefully, I noticed that his face seemed to have narrowed. It looks like it's been stretched vertically. The skin on her face also looked very tight. It's like a shrunken leather, same as the set. It tightly constricted the bone beneath the skin. This moment, I started to panic. I don't know if he encountered an accident, or did something else happen. But I know, something's definitely wrong with him. Honey, are you injured? I asked in a trembling voice. Michel seemed to be responding to me. He stomped his foot hard on the porch. Then he shook his head. Before I could say anything, he suddenly reached out and grabbed the doorknob. Shake it vigorously. I immediately panicked. I don't want him to come into the house right now. I won't let you in. I replied immediately. I could hear him shaking the handle frantically. His face remained fixed on the camera. A few minutes later, he finally stopped. Then it emitted a sound similar to laughter. The laughter gave me goosebumps all over. I'm home now, he said. The sound he made was just like his face. Although he looks a lot like my wife, but you can still hear the difference. The voice changed from a heavy nasal tone. Gradually, it turned into a kind of cunning that resembled the way a baby talks. High notes. I'm home now. Open the door. I almost turned off the app. I called the police. But I'm still worried. Does my wife have some kind of illness? Do you need me to call the doctor? I asked. He shook his head again. His long hair swayed back and forth behind his head. Then the next scene. But it is something I will never forget. My wife Michelle, or rather, the thing that tried to disguise itself as him. The body was hidden right before my eyes. His torso became thin and long, so much so that his head touched the ceiling. His skin looked very tight. I could hear him making a pulling sound like rubber. The sound of shaking. He looks like he has a hard time maintaining it, standing posture with both feet, but they managed to maintain a balance, albeit barely. He wanted to shut his mouth, but it's simply impossible. His chin drooped all the way down to his chest. I called the police. I shouted. Fear spread throughout my body. The instant I said those words, his face immediately contorted. He revealed pure hatred, so strong that I felt like I could almost feel him through the screen. The curtain was drawn out. I have never seen this in my entire life, this level of hatred and anger, not to mention seeing it on my wife's face. He instantly lay down on the porch, climbed down the steps. He ran onto the lawn. I looked on in horror. He bent his arm into a disgusting angle. Crawling towards the open space, he climbed to the edge of the clearing. Then it disappeared into the tall grass. I just sat there, staring at the screen. My heart was pounding. I was so scared I didn't dare look up for even a second, move away from the surveillance screen. Until a full hour had passed, seeing that thing again. Only then did I finally feel at ease enough to put down my phone. Time to go to sleep. I thought about calling my wife again. But I'm also afraid I could also hear that sideburn on the other end of the phone, the sound of an horn. After a while, I fell asleep because I was too nervous. But I didn't sleep for long. I was woken up by my phone again. This time, the warning came from the camera again. I opened the app. Hold your breath. Worried. Will I see some terrifying sights again? After seeing the picture, I immediately recognized my wife standing at the door. Child. I immediately felt a great sense of relief. He was standing on the porch, placing his suitcase at his feet. He rummaged through his wallet with both hands. They must be looking for his key. You've lost your keys again. After I pressed the chat button, I said. He was startled when he heard my voice. I almost dropped my wallet. Are you awake? He said with a smile. I think I've lost my keys again. Can you let me in? He winked at the camera as he spoke. I couldn't help but laugh. Even a few hours ago, I just witnessed a nightmare. My wife still helps me relax. Then, I can't let you sleep on the floor at the door. Go to sleep. After all, I'm your good husband. I'm using channels. He grinned at me. I told him to wait while I went downstairs to open the door. I sat up, put on my slippers. Then he stood up. At this time, I saw some strange movements appear on the screen. Quiet. In the open space in the distance, a head popped out of the bushes, stuck to a long neck. A neck that is so long it could never be human. I couldn't help but sob. I almost dropped my phone. I stood still. I couldn't take my eyes off that thing. And he was also watching my house. His head swayed slightly. Then, the body slowly rose up. It was connected to the head. Like a torso that had originally detached and then cut, returned to original position. He first stood in the grass and looked. But then, something terrifying happened. That thing started dragging his dry, brittle legs. He ran quickly toward the house. I couldn't help but scream. That thing, though it had a limp, but it is still moving at a very fast speed towards. My wife ran away. I ran towards the corridor. I accidentally dropped my phone on the ground. I took a big step and jumped down the stairs. When I ran downstairs, my foot suddenly slipped. I scrambled across the living room, crashed into the front door. I screamed incoherently, reaching out to unlock. I could hear my wife asking worriedly from outside the door, "Has something happened?" Just as I was about to unlock the door, I heard him scream. This scream was purely out of fear. I suddenly pulled open the door bolt, opened the door. Then I grabbed my wife's coat. He was pulled inside. Then the gate was locked. I leaned against the door. He was panting heavily. I heard a low thud coming from the porch. Then it quieted down. My wife is terrified. His face was pale. I almost cried. He wouldn't tell me what he saw outside. He also refused to review the surveillance footage with me, so I let him sleep for a while. Assure him that the house was safe. I didn't sleep. Instead, they checked the doors and windows of the house, then turned on the monitoring. I checked the open space in front of the house, trying to find signs of that thing. But I didn't see anything. After soothing his wife to sleep, I've decided to check the security camera footage. I want to try to see if I can record a video. They analyzed where that thing went. I'm actually quite afraid to see that thing again. Maybe that's why I'm only watching the video now. I turned on the video recording, watching that thing limp across the open space, walking towards my house. He stretched out his long arm. A look of longing appeared on his face. The closer he got, the more terrifying the smile on their face. In the picture, my wife heard me screaming inside the house. He started to worry about me, completely unaware. That thing, they had already come to within a few meters of him. I forced myself to keep watching as the thing gradually approached. When he came to the porch, I heard myself trying to open the door. But just seconds before I opened the door, I saw that thing stretch out its long arms. He grabbed my wife's shoulders. They dragged him off the porch. My wife only had time to let out a scream. I couldn't see it clearly. What did the thing do to my wife? But I saw him walk onto the porch, standing in front of the gate. His limbs began to resemble those of a human. Just before I reached out and pulled this thing into the house, he grinned at the camera. The lips were stretched to an incredible width. For a moment, I could hardly believe what I was seeing. It's as if my brain can't accept this reality. The same. But just as I stood in the hallway, trying to understand the image I'm seeing, and what does this mean? I heard something behind me. What is coming? The sound of footsteps dragging towards me. I immediately ran. I dare not look back. I don't want to see that person with a face similar to my wife, with slender limbs. The skin passed through a terrifying thing with sharp bones. I know that once I look back, my rationality will collapse. It can never be recovered. I rushed out of the house at the fastest speed I've ever been in my life, ran towards the road, too scared to turn around. Not sure. As long as you turn around, you'll then see those long arms. It was desperately reaching out to grab me. I ran to my neighbor's house and banged on the door. I told him someone had broken into my house. I don't know what else I can tell him. He definitely won't believe my experience. Jack and I were holding his rifles. I went back to my house. Of course, the house was empty. We also couldn't find my wife, Michelle, Ah's trail. Only on my lawn, a drag mark was found. continue through the entire open space. I don't need to watch the video, I knew what had left these marks. We searched the entire clearing and woods. But apart from a few strands that should be besides my wife's hair, we found nothing. Those few strands of hair hung high on the branches of the tree. It would be difficult for an average person to climb up, Jack said. Those hairs must have been from some bird building. Nest was carried there. I guess he probably didn't notice the bloodstains on the tree trunk. We eventually returned to Jack's house. Then I called the police. He said there was no better way. I agree. But I know that even if the police come, it won't make a difference. Rice noodles are dead. I just hope he wasn't tortured. I felt guilty for not being able to save my wife. I couldn't even recognize that it wasn't my wife. And felt deeply guilty. The guilt was so heavy it made it hard for me to breathe. I deleted all the surveillance footage. I can't face these videos anymore. I think if I saw those images again, I'll go crazy. The police arrived. They finally finished searching the entire forest. I have to go through the motions with them. Take a statement. Otherwise, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in a small prison cell. But then I thought, this isn't necessarily a bad idea. If you have experience in this area, knowing what should I do if that thing comes back? Please be sure to tell me. I think he will definitely come again. God knows who he'll be pretending to be back then. And ever since we came back from the woods, Jack seemed somewhat unnatural throughout. Although it was a delusion caused by my excessive grief. But I feel Jack's skin seems a little too tight.